Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Kama DC's storytelling night on the theme of celebrations. My name is Will. I am a volunteer with Kama, and I am absolutely delighted to be moderating this evening. I actually haven't moderated one of our storytelling nights since the very first one we did. So it's great to be back here for our 5th anniversary as an organization. So before I introduce our 5 speakers this evening, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the background of Kama DC, how we came to be an organization, and how we've grown over the past 5 years. Because originally the reason why we chose the theme of celebrations is because we're celebrating our 5th birthday. So you might kind of wonder, what does Kama mean? It's kind of a strange name. It's actually an acronym in German, which stands for something like classes taught by asylum seekers, migrants, and people who've been granted asylum. And so you might think, why on earth is an organization that was founded in DC using a German acronym when, as far as I know, most of the volunteers who founded it can't speak German? I certainly can't. The reason is because it was based on a model that was started in Austria, in Vienna, way back in 2007. So they founded, a group of volunteers in Austria founded the first organization because they really wanted to change how people viewed immigrants in Austria. And they felt that the majority of organizations that work with immigrants do amazing work with them, but they sort of had, some of them had a somewhat patronizing kind of view of immigrants, and they didn't recognize them for their skills and the many assets that they bring to their new community, but rather saw them as people who should be given assistance or kind of taught how they should act or how they should be in Austria. And so this group of volunteers really wanted to change that and thought, by creating a platform for immigrants to share their skills with the local community in Vienna, they might start changing stereotypes about immigrants. And in the process, the aim is to build ties between different groups of people who might not otherwise have that many opportunities to really mix with each other and get to know each other. So the organization was born there in Austria, and then it spread across several different cities in Austria, and then it spread to Germany. And then I was in a class here in DC in grad school. I originally moved to DC for grad school. And one of my classmates sort of turned to me and said, would you be interested in trying to replicate this organization in DC? And so we started by basically getting a group of whoever we could think might be interested in doing something to do with this together. We gathered in an office in Shore, actually the office of a church in Shore, and we had our first meeting. And we were a completely random mix of people. There was literally a rocket scientist for NASA. There were several students. There was a lawyer. There was a human rights lawyer, someone who describes herself as a cultural, oh, now I'm forgetting the word. Some kind of cultural magician. She is from Venezuela originally. She does art, she does music, everything, dance. And so we started discussing sort of how this might look in the DC context. And I'm incredibly sort of excited to say that obviously we went for it. It has remained a volunteer-run organization ever since. We've kept basically the same structure, which is that our volunteers meet once a week to discuss everything we've got going. But we have expanded quite a lot over these 5 years. We held our very first class in December of 2019. That was a workshop on community organizing led by a human rights activist from Liberia, Vanderluck Patricks. We held our first cooking class in 2017, and cooking classes have become a really popular part of what we do. Bess, who is one of our speakers tonight, has led some of our very most popular cooking classes, cooking amazing Thai food. And then in 2019, we started thinking sort of how can we provide a platform for people who might not want to teach a class specifically, but to share stories about different parts of their lives, maybe a chance to tell people about their experience of moving to the DC area, or something completely unrelated to their immigrant experience, but just something else. And so we started doing these immigrant storytelling nights. And they also proved really popular. We used to do them in person at the Pop in Adams Morgan, and nearly every time we would have to turn people away at the door because we overflowed capacity in the room and really crammed people in. And then we've also expanded in other ways. We've started doing panel discussions, film screenings. We launched an initiative on Instagram called Immigrants of the DMV, where each weekend someone takes over this Instagram account and they share really whatever they want about for a day. That could be things to do with their experience of immigrating here. It could be about the country that they were born in, or it just could be their favorite cafe or how they typically spend a Sunday in the area. We have since launched a blog as well, and you can check that out on our website. And then most recently, we have launched a podcast, which we're really excited about. And some of our speakers tonight have also taken part and recorded episodes for that podcast. That's called Journey, and it is available, well, wherever you listen to your podcasts. I think it's certainly on Spotify and on Apple podcasts as well. So I think what we really try to do as an organization is provide a platform for people who weren't born here to share their stories, share their skills, and really try and make the sort of experience of different immigrant communities more personal. And I am really proud of all the different ways that people can get involved. If anyone on the call tonight is an immigrant themselves, if you were born outside the US and are interested in getting involved, we would be absolutely delighted to work with you. We can work with you to put on a class or anything at all. Could be cooking, could be something completely different. You can certainly participate in a storytelling night like this. You can take over the Instagram account, Immigrants of the DMV, write a blog post for us, be a guest on our podcast, or something else which we can start. If you've got an idea, we'll make it happen. So if you are interested in any of that, at the end of this tonight, some of us are going to stick around on the call. We would love to chat with you, or you can get in touch with us and we will set up a time to have a coffee or something, and we can chat with you. I have spoken too long, and I'm excited to hand it over to our actual speakers, which is of course why you have tuned in tonight. Our speakers tonight have been involved with the organization in completely different ways. I mean, some have taught classes, as I've said. We have past storytellers, past guests on our podcast. I think this is really the all-star lineup for you. So we're so excited to hear what they have to say on the theme of celebrations. And I think after all of the challenges of the last 18 months, or the last more than 4 years, I think it's about time that we reflect on celebrations and something really positive. So a couple of reminders for you. Please keep yourselves on mute. We would love to see your faces if we can. You don't have to, but we always like to see faces if possible. Don't worry if you haven't done your makeup. And if you do feel so inclined to donate, we would be incredibly grateful. And I'll mention a bit more about that, ways that you could do that at the end. But it is my great pleasure to introduce our first speaker tonight, Paola Salas. So Paola is originally from Panama. She came to the US aged 8 as an army brat, as she says. She has lived in what I consider probably the best neighborhood of DC, Adams Morgan, for 3 years, working in science policy for an advocacy group. But she's actually right now in Montreal, where she has just moved to do the first part of a joint master's degree in public policy and international affairs between McGill in Montreal and SAIS, Johns Hopkins SAIS here in DC. So Paola, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Will, and hopefully everybody can hear me pretty well. So that's a great introduction, kind of getting at exactly what I'd like to share with you all today. The theme for tonight is celebrations, right? And so I'd like to share a little bit about how I celebrate a very particular day. So April 14th, 2002 is a monumental date in my life. It marks the first time I experienced the thrill of receiving a new stamp on my passport, my first plane ride, and my first time moving to a new country, and the first time being labeled immigrant. Despite what my overactive 8-year-old mind imagined, there was no welcome parade with cake or balloons waiting for me at Miami International Airport. Instead, it was long lines at customs and immigration, waiting alongside all kinds of interesting looking people from across South America and the Caribbean. I watched my grandmother, Tita, navigate her broken English, which to my untrained ear sounded like gibberish, or wachi wachi, as we said in Panama. After what felt like an eternity, waiting for our passports to be stamped and officially allowed into the United States, I got the welcome I was most looking forward to. That of running into my mama's arms after more than a year of living apart while she got our American life up and running. After swells of tears, smiles, and lots of hugs exchanged, I finally got a first glimpse at the United States. And it was disorienting. All around me, people were speaking Spanish, but with a different accent. Once we stepped outside of the airport, everything was hot and humid, much like Panama. I was thinking, had I really left home, or was this some elaborate joke? Mama packed our bags into a minivan and we set off on a road trip up Interstate 95 to our new home in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Once the ride began, I was chatting a mile a minute, telling Mama all about what it felt like to fly and what was that large landmass we flew over. It was Cuba, she said, and how scared my sister Anna and I were that the plane would crash during takeoff. Mama laughed and said, imagine what it feels like to jump out of an airplane like I do at my job. Soon, the adrenaline of the monumentous day wore off, and I fell asleep in the back seat with the promise of my first day in America awaiting. I awoke the next day as we pulled into a mysterious place called the International House of Pancakes, where there were bottomless pancakes and a dizzying selection of maple syrups from all kinds of flavors. Now, this was the type of celebration my 8-year-old self wanted. Fast forward to the first anniversary of our immigration, which found my sister Anna and I trying our best to integrate into our new military community, to learn English and make friends. I embraced learning English while Anna did not. She thought that if she didn't learn it, that she could go back home. Of course, making friends was difficult. We were routinely picked on for our fragmented English, called weird names like alien or beaner, and scolded by teachers when we would switch to Spanish once our brains grew tired of the mental backflips it took just to figure out how to express ourselves. We came home after school feeling defeated, so I suggested that we eat our peanut butter sandwiches at the neighborhood park. We ate silently as we watched a C-130 plane fly low in the yellow and pink afternoon sky, thinking about how Mama was likely jumping out of one of those planes in preparation for an inevitable war. Anna suddenly began to cry about how much she missed home. This is home now, I said. We should celebrate that we're so lucky to be able to live in new places with new people and learn new languages. And that's how this picnic at the park evolved into a celebration of all that we had accomplished since immigrating and leaving behind everything we knew. Now, the curious thing is that Anna and I actually eventually stopped celebrating our anniversary. It must have happened as we entered the difficult teenage years, once the newness of America had long faded, once we had grasped the language and all we wanted was just to fit in with other kids. April 14th eventually just became a day in which I'd look out my classroom window and count the passage of time. By April 14th, 2018, I was now an adult who'd recently moved to Washington, D.C. By now, it was 16 years since I'd first arrived in the United States. And while that's not a particularly impressive milestone, it is worth noting that my perspective and frankly, the political climate has shifted. I went from following my teenage desire to suppress anything that made me different to being an adult that sought to celebrate exactly what made me, me. I was more comfortable with the fact that I'm from neither here nor there, and I lamented how the passage of time had transformed Panama from a place of my belonging into a place which I just touristed. With this self-acceptance also came an internal celebration of me as an immigrant, which coincided with the 2016 election. As we all know, the results would be cataclysmic for all of us. It felt suddenly more pressing than ever to speak out about being an immigrant, given the barrage of attacks and racism that many of us were experiencing with the onset of the Trump administration. I felt compelled to revive the anniversary picnic celebration and invite my friends to join me at Meridian Hill Park, just a few blocks away from where the man that emboldened all this anti-immigrant sentiment had resided. I gave an impromptu speech at this picnic where I emphasized that the diversity of people that shared community in this park were emblematic of precisely what made America great. That is, the diversity of experiences that we all wove into the American fabric. This picnic celebration was a rallying cry to my friends. Fight for those you love, those who come from different places than you, those that you don't know. I myself channeled this energy into local political engagement through pushing back against ICE raids in the DMV and supporting candidates for local office that would prioritize helping DC's diverse immigrant communities. Now, as my introduction said, 4 days ago, I went through the immigration ritual once more. I received a new passport stamp. I experienced the deja vu of takeoff, watching the place I came to call home disappear into the clouds. Except this time, I went through this long immigration lines all by myself, having to discern between the wachi-wachi of Quebecois French and feeling deep gratitude for my tita's tenacity and using her broken English to successfully allow us through the immigration interrogations. One curious thing I've already learned is that in Canada, I'm not known as an immigrant. I'm actually considered a foreign national, or someone who is already considered part of the Canadian fabric in society. No need to assimilate yourself in. Since being here, I've been staying with a friend in Montreal while I find a place of my own. He graciously offered shelter, telling me it's just what you do when you know someone is new here. Curiously, yesterday marked 2 years since his own arrival in Montreal from Panama. When I asked him how he wanted to commemorate the day, he said to me, with a picnic in the park and some friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paula, for sharing that. It is so interesting how kind of the same day can take on so many different meanings as your own journey changes and the environment around you changes. I also hadn't heard the term immiversary. Did I get that before? Thank you so much for sharing that with us, especially after just moving 4 days ago. It's a crazy time for you. And I think for those of you who want to hear more from Paula, you should definitely tune into our podcast, because Paula has recorded an episode which will be coming out soon. Next up, we have Nesa. So Nesa Anwari has over 10 years of experience in project management, career counseling, business engagement, capacity development, and public advocacy and outreach. He graduated from Osmania University in India with an LLB honours degree, and then completed his master's degree from King's College London, where I'm from, and he also has a diploma in marketing from Edinburgh Business School. He has lived in Afghanistan and India, and he has traveled all over the place for work: France, Germany, Belgium, China, Azerbaijan, the UAE, Malaysia, the Maldives, and Sudan. We are so excited to have Nesa back with us today. He believes strongly in social development, social services, and volunteerism, and this motivates him to work with international development organizations and to volunteer with different local NGOs. Nesa, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Well, and happy birthday, Kamadisi. It's great to be back and see wonderful people again and listen to wonderful stories. So thank you so much for that and for this opportunity. So as the theme says, celebration. So I have a couple of stories that I would like to share with everyone. And I'm sorry if I'm a bit disorganized because I don't write my stories. Dana and some people and Bess and other who have heard me in the past, like I don't write them. I just say them because that's what I have experienced. So I'm sorry if I'm not so organized. So the first story is around like I'm sure like if we all are immigrants and if we all have the background of coming from some Asian countries or like almost around most of the countries in the world, that having a daughter is a curse. You know, if families give birth to daughters, in some countries like India, as you all heard in my introduction, that I lived there, like in some of the places there in India, they still kind of like kill them. They don't want to have daughters due to all the social, I would say, taboos that they have, or the expenses that they think like the daughters are too expensive, or any other, let's say, like the outdated cultural taboos that are still prevalent there. So my story surrounds about this unique thing that it's a personal story and coming and from the same background, living among the same families with, of course, you're never free of the same, I would say, issues that, oh, daughters, blah, blah, they are so expensive. Like one should never give birth to a daughter. We all know it's out of our control, like nobody else. And for us, especially like in my family, like my father had no sister and we never had a sister, and we always like if it has been a family gathering or it has been our marriages, we always felt the absence of a sister. I'm sure like most of you all are here and you have brothers, and every sister, the act they play in your happiness, in your sadness, or like seeing your other families, the way their sisters nourish them, the way their sisters love them, because sisters are tend to be so caring and loving. So in my family, like we never had one, like nor my father, me, and then even among my nephews, I'm the youngest in my family, and all my nephews, they were son. And I always thought with myself, like I always in fact ask from the God that whenever like I marry and I want a child, I want a daughter. I want to do something like unique because I never felt the love, but I want to like break this taboo. But you know, it's something except the prayers, you cannot do anything else. Like it's out of our control, in fact. Like there are some scientific methods or blah blah that we don't want to talk about it. But then at the end of the day, we all believe it's out of our control. So when I got married, like we were like, oh, we don't want a child for now because my wife was at her final year of graduate studies, and then we were like, okay, let's, because you know the way you said, you heard in my introduction, I love traveling, so I was like, okay, I'll take my wife to the places that I have been, the places I studied, the place. So we kind of managed to not have a child for 1 year after our marriage, but then I was so impassioned to have that daughter that I always, like my family's always dreamt of having, to break that taboo that having a daughter is attention, I would say. So like we always prayed, and my wife was always asking me like, what do you expect? Like, what would be our first child? And I was like, oh, the names and all. And I was always like bringing female names. And I was like, I want a baby girl. I don't care. Like, we have a lot of baby boys, but then I want to have a baby girl to prove to the families, to the society, to at least start from somewhere, that having daughters are not tension. They are not like costly the way you think, or you like you do a big sin, or you commit the biggest sin by killing them, or by avoiding that, or like cursing your wife or the families, that why she is the wife who gives birth to daughters always. So luckily, like as Paula said, the date that not only me but all our families remembered was 21st December 2016, that my daughter Hassanat was born. And no one could believe that the whole hospital received chocolates, gifts, flowers from me. And that's how, because I believe in social development, as I said, and that comes within. If we start from ourselves, try to change at least our family members, the perceptions they have, and then the society, and then the bigger picture. So I thought to do something unique, because from the country I come, like people celebrate, they do the crackers, they get big parties when they get boys, but they don't celebrate if they get daughters. So for me, I want to do something unique, because that's what I have always asked for. That's what we lacked in our family. And we knew how painful that is, to have all your family ceremonies, marriages, whatever you have, without having a sister by your side, whether having a, like even the same with my nephews. So what I did unique was like that, like I planned a week ago that when my daughter is born, the whole hospital will receive chocolates, cakes, pastries. So everyone should know that people, there are still people that they celebrate the birth of daughters. It's not that only because, and the likewise, like whoever was getting, because that is the norm, that I would say the practice. And that I was distributing the chocolates and the flowers, they were like, oh, congratulations, that's a baby boy. And I was like, no, that's a baby girl, and I'm so proud of it. And like they were shocked, because they have never seen like such a, I would say, practice, such a standard, when you give, or your wife give birth to a baby girl. And for me, that was the happiest day of my life. Like my graduation, my marriage, honestly speaking, I'm sure my wife will be listening to me right now, it didn't give me that happiness that my birth of my daughter has given me. And the same, like the office I was working at that time, the next day when I was off with my paternal leave and I went to the office, I had the same pastry, cookies, and chocolates to the office, just to bring this change, that if your wife, or if you get a daughter in your family, celebrate it, enjoy, because that's a blessing. If you guys might have not felt the pain, but we did, because we never had a sister. My father never had a sister, and we never had a, I would say, except our mom and wives, we never had another female in our family members. So for me, that was the unique thing. And I'm sure like Dana has been my colleague, our whole office knows my daughter, because for me, if you see my Facebook, my all social media, I always kind of do advocacy for it. I always write that daughters are not tensions, they are equal to 10 sons, right? We all have heard this saying, Like whoever asks me like, oh, you want another child? I'm like, if it's a daughter, definitely I want another child, because I love being her father. She's the one who gave me this feeling that none of my brothers ever felt in their life, because I always kind of compete with them. I say, oh, you guys, it's very common, because in this family, in this society, having a son is very common. Just prove me by having a daughter. So I can always like compete them, and especially my daughter now. The happy moment for me is because my daughter will be also turning 5. So probably she was born the same date with DC, comma DC. So like happy birthday to both of them. And that's why I try to participate here, to say that that's one of the unique moments from my busy life, or like the social norms that we had. And today I'm still super happy. Like I always, with my brothers, I kind of show off to them. See, like, oh, I have this daughter that none of you have. And luckily, the way I accepted and I ever wanted. So my daughter is a princess, like a literally princess, because I have around like 18 nephews, and she's the only girl among like my 4 brothers who are married, who have their children. So she is literally a princess. If it's her birthday, we celebrate it like 5 times. Like, oh, my mom comes with a cake, my brother comes, or if it's Eid, like clothes come from everywhere for her. And that's why I always tell them, see, this is the benefit of having a daughter. And I always say, because like people coming from the Asian countries, I would say there is a norm that if your son gets married, you're the one, or the son is the one who pays for the expenses, but the daughter doesn't pay. And I always say to all my relatives that whenever my daughter selects someone or in love with someone and wants to marry, I'll be the person who pays all the expenses. I will be the person who pays all the expenses, and I would say that I want to give you the same respect that a son wants to have. So I'm sorry for this. So that's what I want to say, that like that's what I always celebrate. And the bigger celebration is when her marriage comes, and I prove it to the world that what people do only to their son, I can do it to my daughter, because she gave me all the love. She made me a proud dad. Even right now, when we moved to US, I said it in my last story, like we had no one literally here but except my daughter. Believe me or not, like she was 1 year or 18 months old, but the way she was loving me and her mom, the way she was taking care of us, like even if we were sitting like thinking about our life, or what will happen in this new like society and all, then she was the one who would come and hug us. She would, oh daddy, come here, let's play. Like she was the only one who always cared for us. So that is the message I want to pass here, or celebrate, that I have always celebrated, that having a daughter is a blessing. So I always celebrate this blessing every year on 21st December. I celebrate this blessing, and I wish you all, whoever wants a baby, should be a daughter, so you guys feel the love. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Here's to all of the future celebrations that you'll have with her. My family is blessed with a lot of women in our family. I have 3 sisters. I think one actually might be on the call, even though it's the middle of the night in the UK tonight. I have 3 baby nieces, and here's hoping that one day I might be a girl dad too. And also, I should say that Kama is predominantly run by incredible women. And there was a long time where we were nearly entirely women and just me. And so big shout out to all of them as well. They make all of this happen. So thank you so much, Nisa, and congratulations again.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Bess, who is truly one of our all-star teachers, as I said. Bess has taught a number of Thai cooking classes for us, but that's not actually what she does. She's a professional graphic artist, and she moved here to the US in 2018. She was born and raised in Thailand and has traveled throughout Asia, including living in China for 4 years when she was doing her master's degree. It was there in China when she started cooking regularly in order to have some of the comforts that she missed from home. And then here in the US, when she relocated to be with the love of her life, when she's not working or volunteering for various causes, she enjoys cooking Thai food and learning new recipes from the internet. As I said, she has taught several cooking classes: Thai desserts, pad Thai, pineapple fried rice, just to name a few. She has a sweet tooth, so she enjoys running daily in order to help balance her life, and I think has even done some marathons, if I remember right. So Bess, it is a pleasure to welcome you to the stage, and please, we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Hi everyone. สวัสดีค่ะ My name is Dusadi, but you can call me Bess. Thank you Karma DC for having me today. Karma DC turned 5, so I just 29 years older. Today I will talk about my birthday celebration this year. We all know that situation in last year and this year is crazy. We've been locked up in the house most of the time. So every birthday, we try to come up with an idea to make it special for everyone in the family, even we have to stay at home. But for me, if no COVID, life is still short. We never know what will happen. I feel like it's never been easy for living in every day. So I am grateful in every year that I get to celebrate my birthday. First thing in my birthday morning, I take care of my body. So I went out to run, get some vitamin D, oxygen, and endorphin. Do you feel the same that when you work out, you feel so tired and you want to quit in every second? But after that, you get through the feeling and you complete the workout. You will so happy and ready for anything. But for me, I'm ready to eat. After run, I relax my mind with yoga to calm my heart down. I did all of this about 5 years, and I will continue do it until, I don't know. I believe if we are healthy, then we can take care of the people we love and the people we care about. For me, every day is present, a gift of living to make something better for ourselves and for others. So celebration will not be only for me, myself anymore. When everyone in the house asks me what I want to do for my birthday, usually we will just eating some food together, but I got an idea what I want to do. When I told them I will have an activity for everyone to do, they were a little bit nervous and so scared what I will make them do. I didn't tell anyone anything, even my husband. I prepare all the stuff myself, let them wonder until my birthday. My activity is volunteer decoration mask for children in hospital. And because of my birthday, so everyone have to do what I say, even they don't want to. At first start, everyone tried to look at and see ideas from each other. But after cutting and put some decorating together, everyone came up with a great creative design. Here is the mask that we made. I think art and crafts is no right or wrong. You can decorate anything the way you want. It benefits your mind, take away from stress of work and life for a moment. Let our mind be in our imagination work like a child. In 2 hours, we finish 15 masks. If each one of us make 3, I gave the decoration mask to organization in DC named Only Make Believe. Before COVID-19, I usually volunteer in person with them. Even I cannot volunteer in person right now, at least I still can do at home to send it to them. I wanted to do this for children because I believe that children is our future. I just want to give them high spirit and cheer up, do something that help them feel happy, show them that we thinking about them, and maybe one day when they are get better, they will do the same thing for others. They will care and be kindness to help build this world in a better place. It was a wonderful birthday to spend time with family, full of happiness and joy, that we can do something for others as long as I alive. I will try to do things for other people as much as I can do. Thank you for listening to my story and I hope you enjoy it. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Wow, Bess. I have never heard of someone doing that on their birthday. I'm terrible. I always demand breakfast in bed and have incredibly selfish birthday aims. But that is what an incredible thing to do on your birthday. And I love the idea of you making all of this a surprise as well. And you're completely right. If it's your birthday, people have to do exactly what you want. So I think we should all take a leaf out of your book and do something actually good on our birthday.
Usually we have to be the person that we think that what it will be surprise us is our birthday. But for me this year is no, everyone just so scared what I should wear, what I should do.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So next up, I am really excited to welcome Ali back to the virtual storytelling stage. Ali Salim is best known by his alter ego, Begum Nawazish Ali, who is a Pakistani television host, actor, scriptwriter, and impressionist. He became a contestant in Big Boss 4 in 2010. And he broke into mainstream audiences through his impersonations of the late Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, and later playing the cross-dressing Begum Nawazish Ali on various television channels. His alter ego, of Begum Nawazish Ali has now become his primary persona, as he rarely appears as the male Ali Salim. But here he is today, and the last time Ali performed for us was as part of our Pride celebrations. Ali, it's wonderful to have you back. Thanks so much.
Thank you so very much, Will. It's entirely my pleasure. And first of all, happy birthday, Karma DC. It is an auspicious occasion, as they say. So you spoke about Germany and how karma is a German word. And I just wanted to share this. And I celebrate my 4th and 5th birthdays in Germany. I grew up there and I did speak fluent German. Unfortunately, after moving back to Pakistan, I unlearned my German, but they say that, if you practice enough, it'll come back to you. Also, you spoke about your cooking sessions and, I would be very much interested, Bess, in, I'm sure you do the best Thai cooking ever, but, we in Pakistan, we have some, very good, cuisine, masalas and everything. So I'd love to do the dal chawal and the aloo gosht, and whenever it's possible, I'd love to have one of those evenings. So because tonight we are celebrating, and I would love to actually dedicate my story as I begin to 2 women who I think have shaped my life. The 2 primary women, there have been many women, uncountable women who've shaped my life. I'm a feminist and a very proud feminist. I have always had women as my idols. I believe that women are a superior being. I believe that I'm a woman inside, and and I think that God is a woman too. Sorry, I don't want to sound blasphemous or hurt anybody's religious sentiments. But my 2 grandmoms, my dad's mom and my mom's mom, my dadi and nani, as they're called in Pakistan, And, and of course, my mother. I think, when we are born in this world, we are born with certain relationships and biological relationships. And as we evolve and as we grow older, we make and we find new relationships in this world. And I have been very fortunate that I have been blessed with some amazing people in my life who have been not just role models, but guiding spirits, people who have helped me become the man / woman that I am. I was obviously born biologically or physically, I was born a boy. And I was very young. When I was 5 or 6 years old, I, thought that God had made a huge mistake by making me born, like by sending me in a boy's body, because I always felt that I was a girl inside within. And, and I always wanted to be a woman. And in Pakistan, growing up during the 80s was a horrible time. This was the time of the Cold War, when the Soviet troops or the Soviet Union was engaged in Afghanistan, and the USA was fighting, this war against USA. In Afghanistan, the Pakistan army was engaged. My father was in the army. I grew up in cantonments in Quetta and Rawalpindi and Kharia and other cantonments. And, and I always knew that I was different. And I always knew that I didn't want to follow, the narrative that was thrust upon us. Now, let me begin by saying this, that I've always been very, very interested in world politics. Also, there is a share, how do you say it, a couplet, or a share. How do you say share in English? It's like a verse. It's a verse from a very, very famous Urdu poet, Allama Iqbal, from the subcontinent. And it goes something like this, that Farde Wahid Rabte Millat se hai tanha kuch nahi, Mauj hai darya mein bairune darya kuch nahi. Which actually really means is that an individual who is disconnected from his society is nothing. A wave is, in the ocean, and without the ocean, the wave is nothing. Now, I am wearing this shirt that says making waves. What I'm trying to say, and what my t-shirt is trying to say, is that we are all part. I mean, yes, we all celebrate our individuality. Bess is beautiful, so is Paula, Nisar, everyone who's spoken, before me. Well, you're gorgeous, by the way, and I have a crush on you. Anyway, but the point is, we're all part of something bigger, and we're all connected. And my belief is that, the world is one. And as we are progressing, as the human race progresses, we become closer and closer and closer to each other. So what happens in Thailand, or what happens in India, or what happens in Pakistan, or what happens in Afghanistan, and I'm sorry, I'm going to bring up this, but, a comedian was apparently beheaded 2 days ago by the Taliban. And, it moved me and it affected me. A girl, I mean, there is a feminicide going on in Pakistan. Women are being killed in Pakistan. Children are being raped, not just in Pakistan, around the world. But because I am from Pakistan, I will keep it and I will bring it on, and I will say, and I will admit it, that yes, but also at the same time, I will say that being a part of the global community, it is so important for us to realize that we are not living our lives in isolation. I am a refugee in this country, but I have been coming to the United States of America since I was 4 years old. And I have traveled around. I've traveled to at least 30 countries around the globe. And, everywhere I've gone, I've realized one thing, that, the language of love, the language of connectivity, the language of the language of appreciation and what you call it, understanding, it brings people closer. So what I'm trying to say is that how I see the future is that, we can't be living in boxes anymore, that the world is coming closer and closer than we can ever imagine. And I believe that we need to own up to the problems that plague human civilizations, be it in any corner of the world. I believe that as sensitive, thinking, conscientious human beings, sensitive human beings, that we must own up, and we must try and play our part in trying to make and try to make the world a better place for all people, irrespective of their caste, of their gender, of their race, of their color, and all of that. Why I am celebrating this month? Well, I got my employment authorization and social security number just Monday. So it's not even been a week. So I'm now legally allowed to work in the United States of America. I survived through the pandemic without any social security. I am extremely grateful to certain individuals who actually were extremely kind to me, and I was able to live and thrive. I am a man of principles, and I believe that, when somebody is kind to you in life, that you must return that kindness, not necessarily to the man who's been, or to the woman, or to the person who's been kind to you, but to return it back to humanity. I believe we're all part of something much bigger. And why I love the United States of America, and I will say this now, is because I believe that there is no other country on this planet that can boast about being so inclusive, so multiracial, so multicultural, so multi-ethnic, so multi-gender and gender roles. The United States of America stands to, and I see the United States of America as being the global leader. And I believe that I am in that part of the world where my voice can make a difference. And it's just not about me, it's about each and every single one of us. I think each and every single one of us, we need to make that, and and with our stories, with us having struggled or gone through, the process, I think A, it makes us more resilient. B, it makes us more confident. C, it makes us realize that we have it in us, to survive adversities. And you know what? We have the best stage in the world. And this stage is the stage that we can use to make a difference, not just in the United States, but the countries we were born in, the countries that rejected us or that we rejected. It's a vice versa thing. Nobody's happy leaving their home. I mean, I lived a celebrity's life in Pakistan. And, a lot of people, I come here across, in the United States from the Pakistani community. And their first question to me always is that, Ali Bhai, Bhai means brother, that Ali Bhai, why did you leave Pakistan? You were a celebrity there. Everybody loved you. Why did you leave it? And why are you doing this? And I have swept floors, at restaurants, and I have washed bathrooms and bars. And I've done that. And I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of it because, you know what? I think in my head that I was maybe living a superficial life for 23 years of my life, of my existence. And this is the first time that I'm having a real taste, or, a taste of the real world. And I'm loving it and I'm enjoying it. And I believe that we need to, build that, that not trust, but that feeling amongst the refugee or community or the asylum seekers who come to this country believing in a bigger dream and who have to go through the rigmarole. The darlings, it is all part of the process. As long as you can stay strong and be true to who you are and have your heart in the right place and be ready to, endure, you are going to be successful at the end of the day. This is what American Dream promises everyone, that if you are hardworking, if you're ready to bear and to endure the difficulties, that at the end of the day you are going to emerge victorious. And also at the same time, I'm not detached from Pakistan. I'm obviously very connected through social media tools. So things that happen in Pakistan, all these stories that I read about. I mean, I'm sorry, we were talking about celebrations, and yes, I'm celebrating my social security and I'm celebrating my work authorization. But at the same time, it breaks my heart to say that, there are people in my country. In fact, I would like to take his name on record. Khursand Bayar Ali, a young transgender activist, died 2 weeks ago. And it breaks my heart. I mean, that's somebody who really worked very, very hard, and I worked with her closely. I was also on the board of directors of NAS Pakistan, and it broke my heart. The story I heard about Noor Muqaddam, who was beheaded by this beast, has broken my heart. But what gives me strength is the fact that there are people who are moved by it, that there are people who have found the courage in them to, express, their not just condemnation, but their solidarity with people who are alive. And we believe that, life and death, is a natural process. And we believe nobody is going to live forever. But we believe also that, a life that has, a life worth living is the one where you have made a difference before you leave this world. And I have always said this, and I'm going to say this again, that I would be the happiest person knowing that before I die, I have left this world slightly better than what I got it, than how I got it. So you guys are amazing. I love you all. Mwah. And kudos to you for sharing your stories. Thank you.
Ali, thank you so much. You speak so much from your heart, and it's amazing to celebrate with you and to celebrate. I know I've been on the other side of waiting for that employment authorization card, so I know what a big deal that is. But also to sort of to share more, and we're so grateful that you used this platform to kind of draw us in like that. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Our final speaker, last but certainly not least, is Hangda. Hangda is a DC-based journalist who initially moved from China to the US to pursue journalism. She says that she's a wannabe cat lady, but who thus far only owns plants. When not working, Hangda is trying out different fitness activities, sounds a bit like Bess, watching Formula One and catching up on Marvel. The bittersweet stories she's sharing tonight are meant to show people the strength one could have and the love one could receive in a foreign land. And now she can call DC a second home. So Hangda, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So this is actually second time for me to speak at Comma. And so I plan to add some like comic elements to this time's speech, but I realized you guys are all muted, which is even better. I'll just pretend y'all laughed at all my jokes tonight. So I don't know if you guys have friends or people online like updating like, oh, I got a new job, I got a new promotion, like during COVID, I was like, wow, like how did you do it? And if you're one of them, please leave this call. No, I'm kidding, or am I? But there's no promotion, no raise for me in the past few years. And I have asked many, many times. I follow those inspiration, like speakers, like advice, like just ask, keep asking. But after the rejections, I'm kind of regressing back to look at what I'm best at doing, which is dating. Yes, I was one of those girls in college, you know, I mean, nerdy and career oriented. But I was also very on top of like looking for the right person who tell me, oh, darling, you know, your fart kind of smells bad, but I still love you regardless. So today I'm going to talk about, you know, how dating life and the work life are kind of similar, except one thing, which is celebration. So at the beginning, I was talking about it was really hard for me to get a promotion or raise. So I am a journalist with Chinese citizenship. So in China, you guys all know about the censorship and everything. But in the US, I'm also a foreigner trying to find a job or trying to get a job. And that's kind of like dating. So imagine this. I know you guys can't really see me like full body length because I'm sitting right now, but just imagine I'm like 6'4" tall. And just imagine, let me live my best tall person dream. So in dating, I would like men a little bit taller than me, you know? So Google tells me only 1% of men are likely to be taller than me, than the 6'4" version of me. So when I meet someone who's taller, probably he also knows he's my only choice. And that's my situation as a Chinese national journalist in the United States. And, you know, all other not so good job choices in China are just more risky to me than just standing next to a shorter guy and looking like his mother. So very limited choice, very little choice for me. And I don't know if you guys like date through like internet, through apps, or you find the person like through your friends. But, you know, I actually met my boyfriend through an app. And, you know, when you date a person through an app, you can't like be too eager, but you also can't show like no interest at all. So it's kind of same at work. Like when replying to an email about this new assignment you just didn't know not like anything about ahead of time, you just have to be like, oh, thank you, I appreciate this opportunity, huh? And even when you ask for promotion, your manager would play this not like interested but not really interested kind of game. So when it's a yes, they will let you know like in a couple of days, but you know, not right away, because they don't want to look like too desperate or, you know, lack of professional maturity. But when it's no, they won't tell you right away. And you will start like getting confused. You start wondering, did he forget that I'm still waiting for an answer? Is he still deciding? Am I not good enough? And then you will regret not listening to your friends weeks ago to move on and start swiping left and right. So anyway, now I'm in a happy relationship. Oh, excuse me. Let me mute myself real quick. What? No, did I tell you I have a thing today? I can't cook, just eat some ramen. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I am in a happy relationship. And after we dated for a few years, you know, we just don't really celebrate like when we used to do when we were younger. You know, we wouldn't do like, oh, it's our 1 month anniversary, or it's our like 100 days anniversary, or it's our 6 months anniversary. Like, do you know what anniversary means? Like, annie means annual. It means you celebrate once a year. Anyway, so for us now, it's just a nice dinner, you know, every year on the dates when we first met each other. And nobody celebrate achievements in a relationship like, oh, on this date, he saw me picking my nose, intimacy level up. Or on the other day, oh, he lets me cut his hair. He trusts me so much. Oh, relationship level up. Or, you know, last year today, he came into the bathroom to grab some toilet paper while I was taking a dump. We almost broke up, but we had this deep, heartfelt conversation about the myth that hot girls don't poop. Communication level up. So it's kind of same at work as well. We don't celebrate moments like, oh, when I finally get out of bed early, wash my face, and then turn on my camera at a morning meeting. Or I held back from cursing at my boss, who much deserves it. But maybe we should celebrate these moments, because the thing is, when we're dating, we're in this mutual loving relationship, hopefully. And I know when I'm down and in doubt of myself, my boyfriend wouldn't tell me, oh, let's make a plan to work on your shortcomings. I know when I take some time off for having some space for myself, it's just a hobby day or a spa day that we call at home, instead of a sick day or a paid time off. So anyway, all of these is to say, even at work, when nothing like a promotion or a raise happens to you, find small wins to celebrate yourself for. Like, you deserve the celebration, because the end of a relationship might lead to, a marriage at 40, 50 years of commitment, so romantic. But the end of a job is just gonna be another job. Along your career, it is you and your loved ones who will have to cheer for you for being who you are, regardless of any material achievements that you're making. So celebrate today.
Hangda, thank you so much. I hope you could see everyone laughing away, because I know I can see Beth and I can see me, and I know that we both were, and from the chat it looks like you had everyone laughing the whole way through.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you so much. I was sort of trying to find a way to sum up these 5 very different stories that we've heard tonight, and I think what the 5 of you have done is sort of challenged us to rethink sort of what it means to celebrate. We had sort of rethinking what it means to celebrate an anniversary, what society tells us is worthy of celebration, how we can or how we should celebrate an anniversary. I think Ali talked about sort of celebrating being part of something bigger, and the things that unite us, and celebrating our duty to support each other as well. And then Hangda, I think you also challenged notions of what is worthy of celebration, and you kind of urged us to celebrate the small things and to celebrate ourselves. And I think we can all learn a lot from those lessons tonight. So thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure to hear you all share with us. I know that we've run over. I'm sorry that we've run over. But just before we go, I wanted to say, please do stay up to date with what we do by following us on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, we have a website. We also have the Immigrants of the DMV Instagram account. If you're interested in getting a peek into the lives of immigrants who live in your community here in the DMV area, then you can get that through iDMV. And then also, I think we would love to see you at one of our future events. We're currently trying to work out if we can do events in person again. But it looks like the next thing we're planning is a panel discussion sometime late in August, which is going to be on immigrant students in the US school system and their experiences. And then our next storytelling night is going to be in September. So you can check out updates on our website, commemorate.org. As I said, if any of you feel inclined to support us with a donation, we're an entirely volunteer-run organization, and it allows us to do things like buy this Zoom account and advertise what we do. We're extremely grateful for all of that. And then one final thing is a few of us are going to be sticking around. So if you are interested in getting involved with us, if you're an immigrant yourself and would like to teach a class, tell a story, whatever, please stick around and we would love to chat with you, or shoot us an email. So thank you, everyone. Yes, certainly stay safe, as Nisar said. And one final thank you to our 5 awesome speakers tonight. Thank you so much.